Yeah, today was a pretty standard like no-gi class. We started up normal warm-ups that we do every day, and then we went into just technique or takedowns. Like we have a really heavy get on top, stay on top mentality when it comes to like training. So that's why we always start finish our warm-ups with some sort of takedowns, and then we went straight into techniquing our staple passes. And so we always follow a curriculum, and we've been working on the staple pass all week. And then so like last week specifically, we were working on like tripod sweeps. And then so this week we did tripod sweeps up into headquarters position, up into the staple pass. And so it's like a linear jiu-jitsu problem. And then so after we technique for a little bit, we got into a little bit of live training. So that way we can like solidify the moves that we went over, start to work over it with the resisting opponent. And then for the end of the day, we kind of just cool down with a little bit more technique. And then finally finish with some hand fighting. Again, just like focusing that stay on top, get on top mentality, or get on top, stay on top mentality that we have. We're not against pulling guard here, but it's definitely not the first choice that we would like people to have. My name's Vinny Valenzuela. I'm a brown belt under Ben Westrich from Warrior Fitness Center. I chronologically have been training for 13 years. I'll say like 10 of those years I've been actually training. I took a 3-year break just due to some life struggles post-military. So I'll say like a decade. I started my jiu-jitsu journey. I was in the Army. I started with the combatives program. That's where I met Ben Westrich. He was my instructor from white belt, promoted me to blue belt, promoted me to purple belt. I then PCS to South Korea. I trained with a man named DK Kim, I believe, from Itaewon Jiu-Jitsu. And then we also trained with Chris Kim a little bit at a Team Posse in Gangnam. But mostly, for the most part, it's just me and Larry training by ourselves. We're both in the Army. And then post-military, I took a 3-year break, just like a little bit of PTSD, life stuff, struggling. And then when I returned to jiu-jitsu, I went to Jiu-Jitsu League in Long Beach, California. I was promoted to brown belt under Kevin Howe, at which I moved back to Warrior Fitness Center, to where now I teach and compete. While I was in the military, I competed for the All-Army Combatives Championship once. I didn't do very well. And then I also competed for the USFK Championship, which involved me winning 3 different combatives tournaments. I won the 2nd ID Division combatives tournament, the 8th Army, which is like a South Korea, Japan combatives tournament, and then I won the USFK, which is like all United States Forces Korea combatives tournament. And then so like that's like where my main accomplishments like started in jiu-jitsu was mostly through the combatives program. I will say I used to be a very heavy like inverted guard player. I actually broke my back in 2020. I broke my L5. I was basically told like, hey, you're probably not gonna be able to compete really at the level you're competing at anymore in jiu-jitsu. And I took that with a little bit of a grain of salt, and I talked to a few people, and they basically were like, hey, we think that you can still do jiu-jitsu. You just might not want to be like an inverted guy anymore. And so I've really tried to focus on being like a wrestler, pressure passer type player, but I still have like a really like heavy like off balance, getting under people influence. So I'll say like I'm kind of like I'm in between like a pressure passer and then like an inverted guard player, like a kind of like a I have like a transsexual guard or something like that, transsexual jiu-jitsu style. But no, I consider myself more of like a wrestler passer over like a guard player now. But it's definitely a new game for me that I've only developed in like the past 3 years. I'm currently a single dad. I work at the gym. I work about 20 hours a week here at the gym. And then I'm also a full-time student. I currently go to the state college. Take 13 credit hours there. And then other than that, I just help my son do his like homework and stuff like that. So really just gym-oriented life. I'll say like the only thing like I want people to understand about me is like when I came back to jiu-jitsu, I had no intention on like doing this for the rest of my life. Like it was like something that I came back because I was like having a lot of issues with my life, and I realized like I was in a good place when I did jiu-jitsu. And then through like being a part of like the community, this is now my life's journey. And so like I think like a lot of people want to like they kind of like set themselves up to be pro athletes at like blue belt, and they end up burning out, and it never works out because at the end of the day, not everyone's going to be a world champion. But if you just ingrain yourself in the community, like you can actually just make this a part of your life through like the interactions and like the people you meet. And so like I had no intention on like teaching jiu-jitsu. This is just like the path that I found like through training. And so like I just want people to know, like, follow your passion or follow whatever you have fun doing, because like you'll end up like where you're supposed to be.
We came up with the 10th planet system, you know, like we're both 10th planet black belts. But at the same time, there's like a lot of other stuff that really works at a high level that we kind of watch and like to emulate, you know, like a lot of Gordon coming up, you know. I watched a lot of Gordon. It's like, and everyone in here is a different style, because like me and Fabiana have a different style too, you know. So it's like you're learning from two different people who do things very differently. So everyone kind of gets to like mold their own game. We definitely sprinkle in some 10th planet stuff here and there, you know, first there's some lockdown, all the truck, all that stuff. But yeah, man, we just like to kind of let people choose their own thing.
On Thursday. Usually it's kind of like an invite only. We do our in-house open mat. But as you can see, it is pretty packed. You know, we got all kinds of ranks here, all the way up to black belt here. We got a couple black belts in the room, so it's definitely a tough room. It's actually pretty cool. We do have like a pretty mixed crowd here for sure. A lot of people from different backgrounds, from like gi, no gi. Our coaches are 10th Planet affiliates, so a lot of the things that we know here are 10th Planet stuff. But we also go over a lot of other fundamentally sound passing and transitions and things like that. So yeah, it's definitely a pretty crazy room. You know, you don't know what to expect in here.
I think this is like probably the best community I've ever been for jiu-jitsu. Like, people here are so fun, you know. Everyone that walks in the door, they're hugging them already. Like, it's such a cool vibe here, you know. Everybody here is friends. And then every time we get in rounds, you know, we want to kill each other. But when we finish the rounds, it's like we're like, you know, brothers here. And I have my brother here training with me too. He started training 4 months before me, and then I got him into jiu-jitsu because of him. So it's always fun to get some scraps with him, and he's such a good brother too. So really good community here.
We both come from sports backgrounds. He used to do football in high school. I did Olympic weightlifting competitively. So the transition over to jiu-jitsu was pretty seamless. It was more just doing that kind of training, and then transitioning over whichever time slots we were training in our sports over to a different sport. It just felt natural to us. In that process, in those 2 years, in the seek of, you know, the best jiu-jitsu we could get, we went over to Brazil about a month ago. We were there at Melty Galvão School. If you weren't familiar with that, he recently just won both the 77 and the 66 kilo divisions at the ADCC Worlds with Mika and Baby Shark, and we were there for the whole training camp. It was an amazing experience, and now we're back in Colorado trying to put on a show.
Man, I feel like there's a lot of bullshit in jiu-jitsu, you know, a lot of politics, and like, I've been around the scene for a long time, and like, there's no bullshit here, there's no politics, man. We come, we train hard, we have fun, and like, that's it. Like, I think we have a good community. I really like what we're building here. It's very positive, you know, and it's like I said, we get after it and we have good jiu-jitsu, and I'm like, we're very proud of that. We have good fundamental jiu-jitsu.